Soundbars are supposed to be the easiest way to upgrade your TV's audio, right? Plug in, power on, instant theater, instant yay! And that's mostly true, except when it's not. See, between HDMI 2.1 ports, ARC, eARC, optical cables, and mysterious TV settings, it's easy to wonder if you did something wrong, or if you're getting the best sound or not, or if it should be better in some other way. Well, today I'm going to show you the right way to connect a soundbar, whether it's a brand new Dolby Atmos rig like a Sonos Arc Ultra, or a basic 2-speaker bar that just needs to sound better than your TV's paper-thin speakers. I'll walk you through all the connection types, the TV settings that you need to check, and a few things the manuals just don't explain, including how to avoid giving up a precious HDMI 2.1 gaming port. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and if you feel like you've heard all this before, stick around to the end because I'm also going to cover some advanced stuff for anyone juggling a PS5, an Xbox Series X, or a streaming box on top of everything else. And if you have questions that I don't answer in this video, fire them off in the comments section. If I'm not able to answer them, someone in our community probably will. Okay, so step one is finding the right HDMI port on the back of your TV. And don't worry, if it turns out that you don't have the right kind of HDMI port, I'm going to talk about how to use one of the other ports back there in just a bit. Regardless, we got to start by checking the back of your TV. You'll see a row of HDMI ports, and one of them should be labeled ARC or eARC. That's the one you want for your soundbar. Now, if your TV was made in the past few years, that ARC or eARC port might also be labeled as an HDMI 2.1 port, or it could say 4K/120. Now, that's great news for your audio situation. It means that your TV can send out uncompressed Dolby Atmos and higher bitrate audio. Unfortunately, there's a catch. Many of the TVs made in just the last few years only give you 2 HDMI 2.1 ports total. So if you have more than one of the latest gaming consoles, or you've got a console and a gaming PC that might need that 4K 120 Hz VRR connection, well, I'm hopeful that your soundbar has an available 4K 120 Hz port on it. Some soundbars have an HDMI input that supports pass-through, meaning you can plug your console or Blu-ray player into the soundbar itself and then just run a single HDMI cable to the TV's eARC port. That way, you keep your full-speed video while still getting Dolby Atmos audio. If your soundbar does not offer pass-through, and you'd rather connect both consoles to your TV than have the slightly higher-end audio option, well, you'll be using an optical cable instead, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Step two is we make the connection. Once you've found your ARC or eARC HDMI port, grab a high-speed HDMI cable, ideally one that's labeled HDMI 2.1, or look for ultra high speed on the label. If your soundbar came with a cable, the hope is that it's a ultra high speed cable, but check just to be sure. And if you need an inexpensive HDMI 2.1 cable that you can trust, I have a link to one down in the description of this video that you can have delivered in like a day or two. Now, plug one end into the soundbar's HDMI out, or it'll say to TV eARC or ARC. And then on the other end of that HDMI cable, you plug that into your TV's eARC or ARC in port. Now, if that sounds confusing or counterintuitive, I totally get it. You have to think of this connection as a two-way street. It kind of bucks the conventional signal path rule of one-directional ins and outs. Okay, that's it for the cables. Now, let's make sure your devices are all talking to each other, which brings us to step three, checking your TV settings. So, here's the deal. Every brand hides the menu that you need right now in a slightly different place, but here's basically what you're looking for. One, a setting talking about HDMI CEC or just CEC. On Hisense TVs, it's called HDMI Control. On LG, they call it SimpLink. On Samsung, it's called AnyNet Plus. And on Sony TVs, they call it Bravia Sync. You want to turn that on. This allows your TV and soundbar to exchange commands. So the TV remote can control the soundbar volume. And if the soundbar is the same brand as the TV, it's also responsible for letting you control even more than just the basic functions. It's also going to allow the TV to turn the soundbar on when the TV itself is turned on, and vice versa. Number 2 is we look for an eARC or eARC mode. Make sure that is also turned on if it's available. If your TV offers a pass-through or auto option for digital audio out, usually in the sound menu, choose that so that you get the full Dolby Digital Plus or Dolby True HD signal going to your soundbar. Number 3, you might need to make sure that your TV speakers are set to an off setting, or the setting might look something like external audio system. This ensures that the sound is routed to your soundbar and not to your TV's tiny little speakers. By the way, HDMI CEC or consumer electronics control, even in this modern era where it's been around for decades now, it can either be magical or a little mysterious. If you run into any problems, drop a comment down below and we'll see if we can iron it out for you. Okay, we're on to step 4, in which we test and tweak. This is my favorite part because we get some payoff for the work that we've just done. Once you've got a signal going on, stream something labeled Dolby Atmos on Netflix or Disney Plus. Adjust your soundbar's subwoofer level so the bass feels rich but not overwhelming. If you have surround speakers or up-firing Atmos speaker controls, tweak those so that they sound appropriately balanced with the soundbar. If your soundbar supports a calibration app like Sonos TruePlay or Sony's Sound Field Optimization, run that. These apps can make a surprising difference in clarity and balance of your system. Now, for those of you who don't have ARC or eARC on the back of their TV, or if you're not willing to give up one of your HDMI ports for your audio purposes, no worries. Most of you are going to use an optical digital cable instead. It's the one that looks kind of square on the ends and it glows red when it's plugged into a source. You're going to plug one end of this optical cable into the TV's optical out. Make sure it's the one that says out, not in. The other end of that cable is going to go into your soundbar's optical in. Then, in your TV's audio settings, select digital audio out and mark it for optical, or sometimes it will say SPDIF, or SPDIF we say. Now, the downside to using an optical cable like this is that you're not going to be able to control your soundbar's volume with your TV's remote. So you're going to need to keep your soundbar remote handy for volume adjustment and anything else with the soundbar really. Optical also can't do totally uncompressed Dolby Atmos audio, but it can do Dolby Atmos through Dolby Digital Plus, which brings us to some settings adjustments that you might want to make. If the TV gives you options for digital output format, it might say PCM, Bitstream, Dolby Digital. Start with Auto or Bitstream. Only use that PCM setting if you can't get sound any other way. The other kind of digital audio connection that you might see, it's becoming increasingly less common, it's an older connection, is called Coaxial. And this will be an RCA connector that is marked orange in color. Like I said, it's an older connection, so both your soundbar and your TV will need to be around the same age for this to work. Now, if you do use this connection type, you'll need to go into the TV's digital audio output settings and select Coaxial, unless this is the only digital audio connection available, in which case it might just say digital. That's just very rare. Now, if you don't have any of those, no HDMI, no optical, no coaxial digital, then your only choice is going to be an analog signal. And again, you'll see RCA connectors, but there will be 2 of them. One will be red and one will be white. Make sure the red on the TV goes to the red on the soundbar and so forth with the white connector. You won't get digital surround sound, but your soundbar may still be able to create a virtual surround sound for you, assuming it supports this stereo RCA connection at all. The sound with this simple older connection will still be miles better than your TV's built-in speakers, so it's still worth using. That's it for wired connections, but what about wireless? That would be way more convenient, right? Maybe spare another visible cable going up the wall. Well, a word of caution on the wireless thing here. Yes, many TVs can send audio to a soundbar or your headphones via Bluetooth, but that convenience comes at a bit of a cost. Audio compression means that you're going to lose some audio fidelity, but that's not the end of the world. The real problem is that there's usually noticeable lag or delay between the picture and the sound. You have major lip sync issues, and that's a hassle that you just don't want to deal with, trust me. On the other hand, some brands have proprietary wireless audio links. Usually they use Wi-Fi and they work great. Samsung's is called Q Symphony, LG's is called Wow Orchestra, and Roku's is called TV to Roku soundbar pairing. Now TCL and Hisense each have their own versions of this kind of technology, but they require specialized systems to use. TCL's is called the Z100 and Hisense's is called the Saturn, and if you want to learn more about those, we've got a video that you can watch linked right up here. Now, here's a bonus tip for you gamers out there. Your console has audio settings that you're going to need to pay attention to as well. This is in addition to the TV settings and the soundbar settings, so be sure to go into the audio menu of your console and check these out and make sure they're set to match whatever your system type might be. Again, choose Bitstream for the digital audio output type and try that first. PCM should be a last resort. Okay, after all of that, we have finally arrived at our final check. Once you've got all of your stuff set up, power everything off and then power it all back on. That's gonna lock in that CEC handshake. If the soundbar doesn't wake automatically or the volume control doesn't sync, unplug the HDMI cable for 10 seconds or so and plug it back in and then check again. That little dance solves like 90% of weird issues. Now, if you want to get super dialed in with balancing your system's channels, you'll want to download a dB meter app for your phone or even buy a dB meter online. I have a link for that in the description under the Audio Nerd Toolkit. And then you'll need a source of pink noise for each of the channels so that you can adjust them up and down to put out the same level as measured by your decibel meter. Now, if you have a 4K Blu-ray player, you can get the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit disc. Also have a link to that in the description. You can also get that Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit as audio files that you can play off a USB stick, which is a bit more convenient for most of you. And that's it. Good job. Your soundbar system should now be fully dialed in. I hope you enjoy the living daylights out of it. If this walkthrough helped, give it a thumbs up and drop a comment letting me know what setup you're running, especially if you're pairing a gaming console with a soundbar. I want to know who's getting it right. Tell me about your experience. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, take care. That would be way more convenient, right? Maybe spare another visible Caleb. It's not a Caleb, it's a cable.